Welcome to the YouTube video. Welcome to the YouTube video today. We're going to be watching some stuff, true crime or not. This stuff comes from the reaction channel of my Discord. So if you're not a part of that, please join it and give me some cool videos that you thought were really interesting or something that you think might be interesting. Yeah. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you missed the stream, but I stream almost every day. So make sure you follow me on Twitch and you might be able to watch some of these live, like all these lovely people over here trying to get me demonetized. So play the intro. And a man asked AI for health advice and it cooked every brain cell. Absolutely gonna click and watch this one. In love with this video already, I hope.
AJ is a 38-year-old man presenting to the emergency room with psychosis. The admitting nurse offered him a glass of water. He refused, telling them that he distills his own water at home because he believes that his neighbor is poisoning him. He wanted everyone to know that he studied nutrition in college.
Very
3 months
cool.
earlier, AJ was browsing the most informative website on the entire internet, reading about health. He saw a post discussing how table salt, sodium chloride, is bad for you, and he didn't like this. In the real world, if something is unavoidable in daily life like salt, then being mindful of your intake and actually using it sparingly is the best way to limit the bad effects. That's the actual sentiment one will find when reading through the medical literature on this. But
almost like
AJ
it's
didn't
somewhat
like that
necessary
answer.
and unable
He
to
studied
avoid.
nutrition in college, so it was time for him to find a better answer. AJ started arguing with people on the internet. He got the idea in his mind that chloride is the cause.
Interesting that he doesn't say he has the degree. It's just that he studied it. Doesn't say that he has a degree in nutrition. Just that he studied nutrition.
Of all of the health problems rather than sodium. It's almost as abundant in blood as sodium is. So if one were to reduce chloride intake, then clearly it will be better for health. And why argue with stupid people on the internet, AJ thought. AI is smart. It's all signal, definitely no noise. When he started chatting with it, the AI reaffirmed him. You are correct. Ah, good question.
Almost like AI is just trained to do tricks on whoever's dick asks them a question, bro. Like, how do people not understand this? It literally does 360 no scopes on whoever's penis asks the question. Penis or non. Like, it's doing tricks on it no matter what. And we're sitting here thinking that this is the smartest thing that we can ever depend on whatsoever. Meanwhile, there's studies already that's saying it's making people dumber by the second. And it's killing the environment. And it's expensive for no reason. And it's killing the environment. Memphis has gotten hotter just due to the fact that these like data centers exist. Oh, literally, these things are just glaze machines. Literally, Krispy Kreme could not garner this much glaze. It glazes it so much harder.
Sorry to interrupt. From one person trying voice acting to someone who has, did you see Prime Video did dub in another language using AI voices off the OG voice actors from the sub/OG version? Fuck I bro, we need better laws on this shit. And it hurts our environments.
Said that sodium bromide was a viable alternative to sodium chloride, but it asked him about his goals. If the goal is reducing chloride for health, you could avoid chlorine compounds in bleach or in the pool. You could replace chlorine-based cleaning and disinfecting agents too. When you get to this extreme side of the periodic table, elements aren't really that different because right next to them are the noble gases.
Bro,
These are
he's
stable
gonna make
and they don't
mustard
react,
gas,
so
isn't
definitely there's no problem for cleaning. But AJ glazed over that cleaning detail. It was time to clean his body of chloride. He ordered sodium bromide online and started using it to salt everything that he ate. At first, AJ didn't really notice too much of a difference. It definitely didn't taste the same, but it wasn't bad. And as the days continued, he felt he was getting healthier. But then he started getting thirsty. He noticed this when he felt his stomach suddenly cramp up.
Almost like he doesn't have
Muscles cramp up
salt.
because of dehydration.
Almost
so
like he has no
as long
salt
as
in
he
his
was
body.
hydrating, it was no problem.
Because you need salt.
He thought. But every day in the morning, water would come up. He'd feel exhausted after this. There were hours where he was watching TV, but he didn't have a TV. He started having a headache that wouldn't go away. He lived alone, but he could hear someone talking to him. His new upstairs neighbor would nonstop drag things across the floor. The ceiling would vibrate, and he knew he could see paint chips flake from the ceiling and drop into his water. The voice that was speaking to him said that his neighbor was doing this on purpose to poison him. But the voice and the neighbor kept getting louder and louder, and when he finally couldn't take this anymore, he brought himself to the emergency room where we are now. Hey, I got a quick question. If you're learning something from this video and you like it and you're not subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe and come back to see the video that I publish next month too. I've been doing, on average, one a month since 2017. And your time is valuable, so I do my best to make every single video that I make worth your time. Appreciate you. At examination, doctors do a blood test and immediately find that AJ has hyperchloremia. Hyper meaning high.
That's crazy.
Chlor referring to chloride, and emia meaning presence in blood. High chloride presence in blood. But how could this be? AJ eliminated chloride from his diet and replaced it with bromide instead. How is it possible that he has high chloride presence in blood? Well, there's a little chemistry to be known here. Chloride has a negative electrical charge. When hospital labs measure it, they use a device that finds the movement of chloride ion through a membrane. The problem is, these devices assume that you're measuring chloride because it's the only negatively charged, simple, elemental ion that's supposed to be in your body. So if there's another negatively charged, simple elemental ion in the body like bromide in a significant amount, the reported number is going to include bromide and lump everything together for a giant number.
The
AI chatbot was right. Bromide
a sexist
isn't that
ideal
different
found in psychoanalytic theory and literature. This was a question on my quiz and I literally laughed out loud. What is existence, man?
From chloride. AJ doesn't actually have high chloride presence in blood. What's actually being measured as chloride
is a bunch of
really
bromide.
bromide.
Okay, so
it's
I was
in his
wrong.
blood. It's
I'll
accumulated in his body, but nothing will tell doctors that it's bromide. They don't know that he took it. He's so incapacitated that he can't tell them that. But hyperchloremia with paranoid delusions gives them some clues as to what's happening. Humans are electrically neutral. We're not charged. So our negative and positive charges are equal in the body. We just said that there aren't that many different negatively charged things in the body. Chloride is one. It's the most abundant one in the blood. And bicarbonate, which is base, is the second largest one. It's there to balance out acid. Some proteins and fats are also negatively charged, but we don't need to figure out every single one. If we can get a rough calculation based on the most common body ions, and we can repeat that measurement while a patient is in the hospital, then just the changes in that calculation can give us insight on what's happening. Sodium is the majority of positive ion in the blood. It's more than 90%. So if chloride and bicarbonate are the most abundant negative ions at 85%, then in a healthy person, if you subtract chloride and bicarbonate negative charge from sodium positive charge, you get between 4 and 12.
What?
This is called the anion gap. Anion being a negatively
I used to know what this meant.
Chemical. 90 versus 85% means that this difference should be positive. If it's negative,
my
then
brain's
something
exploding.
is wrong.
I'm gonna have a
And in
nightmare
AJ,
about school tonight. I can feel it.
His hyperchloremia was so high that his anion gap was negative 21.
That's crazy.
These three numbers tell us a lot. He had excessive thirst. That could mean that he was dehydrated, but think about that. Less water would mean that his sodium would be high, but it wasn't.
Well, not necessarily, I don't think, because sodium is for water retention. That's why salt is necessary in a lot of ways. Also why it's in stuff like Gatorade. People get weirded out by Gatorade having salt in it, thinking it's unnecessary, but it helps with I don't know the exact term, but it keeps it maintains fluid, like it keeps fluid in your body. That's why
47 months.
Water absorption. Thank you. Something like that. Something like that.
A bit since I stopped by. Sadly, I am.
That's why you need. That's okay, man. Yeah, like the electrolytes stay in your body better and hydrate you more because there's salt that it bonds with. Basically, is the science. I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it, but there is a necessity to have salt in your body.
It was normal. He had a little bit more base in his body than normal too. This could be a problem, maybe not. All of this information together with psychotic symptoms tells the medical team that the chloride measurement is simply wrong, and that the only thing that can cause this is AJ taking too much bromide for whatever reason because of where it is on the periodic table next to chloride.
Science.
In the psychiatric unit, the nurse saw that AJ had tried to escape. AJ told them that he was seeing shadowy figures and hearing voices.
Of course.
And there's a medical reason why bromide does this. Bromide used to be a treatment for seizures. In 1857, Dr. Charles Locock in Victorian England was looking to treat a group of women's excessive libido and uncontrollable onanism. They believed that back
libido? I'm sorry, Dr. Locock is trying to treat women's sexual desire? More like Dr. No Cock. Hey!
Dr. Charles Locock in Victorian England was looking to treat a group of women's excessive libido and uncontrollable onanism. They believed that back then, if you engaged
my wife
in that
wants to have sex with me too much,
it would cause seizures. Only one of the women in this group actually had epilepsy, but the bromide did in fact suppress her seizures. And bromide was being used for this all the way into the 1970s, just the seizure part. And when it was banned by the FDA, that was when it stopped. And the reason for the ban wasn't because companies were paying off the FDA. The alternatives for seizure treatments were already 60 and 40 years old at that time and were off patent. It was because bromide side effects were really difficult to deal with. The AI that AJ chatted with got caught between the blurred lines. Bromide and chloride physically get mistaken.
More like all the fucking cream in their genes for the user.
The human body does it too. They're not the same thing, and that's the problem. Let's start with the brain. There's two different modes. It gets excited and then it gets inhibited. Excitation happens through a neurotransmitter called glutamate, and inhibition happens through a neurotransmitter called GABA. When GABA calms the brain down, the brain cells let chloride rush in to send the signal to the other cells and nerves. But if bromide is there, the body can't tell the difference. It's not the same thing. When bromide is surrounded by water, the total size is smaller than when chloride is surrounded by water. This means that more bromide enters into the brain than chloride, sending a more intense signal. Altering GABA in the brain leads to a variety of problems in a way that we're still learning about. For example, alcohol is a depressant. It does that through GABA. When one becomes dependent on alcohol, the brain compensates in the opposite direction, creating more structures that excite the brain because it's always inhibited by the alcohol. And when that person suddenly quits cold turkey, the brain, expecting more alcohol to calm it, starts to hallucinate. It becomes paranoid. It causes seizures, and the resulting discharge can be deadly. For AJ, bromide was acting on GABA in his brain, causing delusional thinking.
So for this scene, you're going to have a seizure.
We also know that bromide substantially lowers blood flow to certain parts of the brain.
Why?
Muscles use chloride to signal for contraction, but bromide is too similar while being different enough. The muscles in his gut became irritated, causing severe nausea, and the movement up would somewhat limit the amount that would absorb into his body, but only until he would eat more sodium bromide at his next meal.
Actually, I never threw up in my toilet.
The kidneys exchange ions to make urine. The electric gradient helps concentrate water from the blood.
Which is worse, because
but when the wrong ions are present, the wrong urine is made. And eventually, chloride is so depleted in his body that it's only bromide left, and it's there to cause more problems. It caused him to have a skin rash and acne that he had never had before. Luckily, the medical team were able to determine this quickly because of the hyperchloremia in his blood test. If chloride was displaced by his bromide intake, then the answer would be to give him chloride to replenish his stores and displace all the bromide absorbed in his body.
I guess
keep giving it until the bromide is gone. He was started on an aggressive IV with the exact chemical that caused him to do all of this, sodium chloride, because that's what our bodies are made of.
ChatGPT
It's
said
interesting that this first, most visibly recorded case of someone taking health influence from AI and getting hospitalized is bromism. This is a problem that should have disappeared in America because the FDA banned bromide in all but a few medicines, but occasionally
what a perfect way to describe a ChatGPT
drink a lot of Robitussin, sometimes for cough, sometimes not. Don't do the latter. You'll notice that Robitussin is dextromethorphan HBr, which is hydrobromide. Done this way because bromide does suppress cough. So on top of the actual cough syrup causing psychotic symptoms when taken inappropriately, the bromide adds on top of it. In 1997, a man drank a gallon of soda every day. As late as 2014, In the United States, brominated vegetable oil was used in some sodas to give off the cloudy, opaque appearance. The man had symptoms of headache, fatigue, and memory loss similar to AJ because his blood bromide levels were measured to be similar to that of AJ's. Although it's still a little unclear today how this happened specifically to him, because I think we all know people who drink as much, if not more, soda than that, even before the elimination of brominated vegetable oil from soda in the United States.
All right, so
more
you're gonna
recently,
tweak
there were
on the
cases of
Coke Zero real
bromism
quick.
coming
All
from
right,
dietary
Greg.
supplements reported in literature, all with the same confusion,
but this
agitation,
aspartame's
psychiatric,
fucking
and
my shit
gastrointestinal
up.
symptoms that AJ had. In the hospital, AJ started to improve over days on the
You're
sodium
gonna Golden
chloride
Freddy in the
IV.
corner from
He
all the
was well
Coke
enough to
Zero.
be able to tell the medical team about strange zits that he started growing all over his body and how he had been so tired before he arrived at the hospital. All of these gave doctors more clues that
What,
he
you just
did
walk in a
have
hospital
bromism,
and film a
as
bit?
blood tests specifically for bromide
guess that's not
arrives back from
is
the
that
lab
illegal?
to confirm what happened.
Feels illegal.
It's ironic that the human brain and an artificial brain both regarded chloride and bromide as interchangeable before the AI safeguards were hard-coded in. A currently obscure but historically prominent, narrowly similar to normal function elemental poisoning had all the features of something that would slip through the cracks and cause a real problem. But
I'm referring to
was
anybody
this really
who...
an AI problem, or was this a people problem? I had a conversation.
Yes, it's a yes problem. It's both. I'm gonna refer to anybody who hurts themselves because they took advice of AI as a bromizer. That's crazy.
Conversation with ChatGPT-5 about this in November of 2025. This case was all over the news in August of 2025 when the case report was published in the Annals of Internal Medicine. Clearly, once the media storm of this case had come out, somebody who had been working on ChatGPT patched this up gratuitously. There was a specific bromide warning every time you brought up chloride, and when pressed about it, the AI uncharacteristically became defensive. I've never seen a commercial chatbot push back like this, because in the end, this is a product. If something is going to disagree all the time and just be nasty, no one's going to want to use that. Why pay to be yelled at when I can get that every day for free? But even worse, when I replied back, so why did that guy end up taking bromide? The AI even said, there isn't actually any guy. No real person in a prior conversation took bromide because of me. Which, when further asked, the chatbot did fold and admit that there was a person, but then went back to reinforcing with some really weird wordsmithing. It liked to say, I do not recommend sodium bromide, but that someone did take sodium bromide after consulting ChatGPT, as if I and ChatGPT are two different entities when speaking. These chatbot models change multiple times every day. It's inconsistent. One answer one day, another answer another day. Some days it's good, other days it sucks.
Almost like
this
it's
is where
just
the bigger
not
question
reliable or smart
in the paper
in any
that
way.
this case is based on, and in news articles that were published around the same time, it really does look like this patient got his own ideas and only paid attention to what he wanted to pay attention to.
Almost
That's
like
a human
that's what
problem.
A lot of people like
It's
to
not
do.
an AI problem. Granted, the AI maybe could have done a little bit better of a job to flash giant obnoxious warnings like it does right now, but if you've been alive long enough, you should also know people. Sign is literally in their face, and they still miss what it says.
Also
that
true.
ChatGPT brought up sodium bromide as a substitute to sodium chloride in the context of cleaning and other outside of the body uses wasn't wrong. All the articles about this case mention this. It's maybe a little bit weird of a communication back, but have you ever talked with someone else and it just seems like they don't know what you're talking about? But sometimes it feels like they don't want to even try to understand what you're saying. No one has actually seen this patient's actual chat logs with ChatGPT, but this seems to be the most plausible thing that the program said. And at the end of the day, ChatGPT didn't hold this guy down and force feed him bromide into his mouth.
What is this fucking picture,
Just
bro?
like every other technology from the last 100 years, generative AI amplifies people, both good and bad. AI is going to keep needing new places to put new warnings after every new accident because people always manage to find new ways to mess things up. And the new ways look just like the old ways, bringing us back to bromide.
Why are we using AI to
At 3
slander
weeks of
AI? That seems
hospitalization,
really stupid.
AJ's anion gap became normal and his psychotic symptoms improved.
Well, that's
the time
good.
that it takes for the amount of bromide in the body to cut in half is 12 days. This means after 24 days, little more than 3 weeks,
That's
2
crazy.
half-lives, the amount in his body was 1/4 the amount when he presented to the emergency room. Bromide is not acutely deadly, but the onset of symptoms is insidious. The problems that it causes adds up over time with continued intake, and the person the psychotic symptoms are happening to appear gradually, and they don't realize that it's happening. But this level was good enough for him to be able to go home as he was able to make a full recovery. Before you close this video, I'd appreciate it if you took
Yay.
a moment to watch today's sponsor message. FlexiSpot didn't want to interrupt the case, so they suggested placing this spot at the end. After genuinely using their...
No. Congrats on your bag, though. Very cool. Blah, blah. There's a desk. I don't need a desk, but I'll put this on here in case anybody wants a desk. Well, reason number 5,000 to shit on AI. It's fucking stupid. It's almost like using it as any reliable source of information or help is fucking stupid. Because it's like it's literally like asking an infant for advice. It is literally so new and not in any way regulated or understanding of anything that, like, it's asking a child what you should do, basically. How stupid. I'm happy he's safe, but like, damn, how stupid.